I will fit in wherever you need me as long as the trajectory is going up. Wade Adams is probably one of the Southeast's best kept secret. And if you're familiar with JD Drake, that's the most intense man you will ever meet. I met Rob, and that's when everything took off. He said, "Hey, we're in North Carolina. I'm with Colby Carino and Lance Lude. We're doing these Ugly Ducklings thing." They called themselves the Ugly Ducklings. Like, nobody wants us. We're going to get over ourselves. People started kind of catching on where it was like this delusional side of the Ugly Ducklings. He loved the energy, man, and, the drive for it. I would love to see Coach Mikey, that character, with the Savannah Bananas. It's almost identical. Like, what I do with the Bananas is what I do as a wrestling manager. He was talking to the promoter, I'll never forget. He was like, yeah, I'll be there. And he looks over at me. He goes, "Yeah, I got a manager too." And I'm like,
call it how I see it, straight talk, no disguise. So the slang dripping, got the truth in my eyes. Might like gavel, every word, lay it down. Coach C in the booth, turn the game all around. Yeah, it's Coach C, he the best for business. It's Coach C, he the best for business. Yeah, I'm sharp as attack when I call the play-by-play. Every dog got his day, and I make the crowd stay. It's every week we go live on a Wednesday. Dressing so sharp, that's a reason why your friends stay. The youngest in the game to do it, best for business. Coach C is the truth and everybody gonna witness. Love entertainment, you swear it's your destiny. Link with Coach C, we can talk about your legacy. It's Coach C, he the best for business. It's Coach C, he the best for business.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Best for Business. I'm pumped for this one. Coach Mikey, Rad Bod Mikey, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for everything over these years.
bro, it has been a long time, man. I am stoked to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm pumped. I remember 12 years old, the first time ever getting to see you guys at Wrestling As of Tomorrow and then XWA, and to see all the things you've done. First off, congratulations on everything that you've been doing.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm curious, when we talk pro wrestling, before Rad Bod Mikey, there's Coach Mikey. So I'm curious, what was it about pro wrestling that made you want to get involved with it?
It's crazy because, like a lot of people, they always remember that moment that they remember, like, oh, this is what's got me into pro wrestling. I don't have one of those because I found out a couple years ago, my grandpa actually talked to me about it. When I was a baby, he would sit me next to him. We would watch pro wrestling. So pro wrestling's always been a part of my life. I don't remember a time getting into it. So like growing up, obviously that was the dream for me, to get into pro wrestling any way I could.
So what are the steps that you make for your independent scene to get involved at first?
I have such a wild story. So I am from Augusta, Georgia, originally from up north, but I've been living in Augusta most of my life, and I had no idea independent wrestling existed. You, like most people, you watch it on TV and you're like, oh, well, that's cool. And then I remember I saw a promotion called Flatline Championship Wrestling in Augusta, Georgia, and I was like, wait a minute, there's like wrestling here, but it's not, WWE. So I went to go check it out. I met some guys. One had a ring in his backyard. So I started training a little bit. I have some disc problems in my back. So it really beat me up quite a bit. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this isn't for me. So I kind of stepped away from it. I was like, cool. I gave it a shot. A few years down the road, my friend Billy Brash was wrestling in Augusta, and he was talking to the promoter, I'll never forget. He was like, yeah, I'll be there. And he looks over at me, he goes, "Yeah, I got a manager too." And I'm like, and he's like, "Yeah, you're managing me tonight." And that's literally how it started. And just hopping from him, and then of course at that promotion I met Rob, and that's when everything took off. He said, "Hey, we're in North Carolina. I'm with Colby Carino and Lance Lude. We're doing these Ugly Ducklings thing." And at first, you don't know if it's flattering that someone's like, "Hey, you're an ugly duckling."
Yeah.
But he loved the energy, man, and the drive for it, and just trying to change the game with professional wrestling managers. But yeah, it was been off since there. So that was around 2015. So about 2015 till about the pandemic, we were like off and running like every single weekend.
Yeah. Before the Ugly Ducklings, is there anything that stands out manager, whether it was Wade Adams or even JD Drake at the time?
Oh man, it's crazy because those guys, like I pull it when someone's like, okay, well, who helped you or who trained you? All these people I pulled these different aspects out of. So Wade Adams is probably one of the Southeast's best kept secrets. He's by far one of the most entertaining comedy. I think he would take pride in it, but he is a comedy wrestler, and the things he does, he thinks so outside the box. So I took a lot from him, and then on the other side of the coin, I mean, if you're familiar with Drake, that's the most intense man you will ever meet.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot of the serious, emotions, the intensity that I can bring out of a character. And, just learning from them, you take these little pieces from each person and, you're just learning and learning. And that's kind of what I did.
When you talk pro wrestling, everything that you got to do, I'm curious at the beginning, what would you consider your first big opportunity when it comes to pro wrestling?
It's crazy because I have like different, steps that I took through pro wrestling. The biggest one I think that really changed the most was when I started with Ugly Ducklings. I was a promotion in the Southeast called PWX, and it was like the spot in North Carolina. If you wanted to wrestle, it was like AML or PWX. And I was like, man, I got to get over there. I got to get over there. And Rob, Colby, and Lance, they were all good friends with me. And they're like, this is our guy. This is what we want to use. And the guys running it at the time had no idea who I was, and they were like, we're interested, but we don't know if the timing's right. Da, 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 da. And, talking to my friends, at the time, I was like, well, maybe, it's just too good to be true. They're like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, just keep cutting promos about us. And like, you're a crazy fan. No one knows who you are. So like the more traction you get, and that's what I did. I would just keep cutting these promos and people were like, who the heck is this guy? Then slowly that buzz started happening. So the promoters messaged me back. They're like, we have no choice. We have to bring you along. Like people are asking about it. So that was probably the biggest step that kind of started it all, traveling outside of the Southeast and just from there, we were on the road almost every weekend.
When you originally were asked about the Ugly Ducklings, how does the idea for Coach Mikey come about?
It's funny because people ask about it and they're like, oh wow. So the Ugly Ducklings, they came from the name. The Ugly Ducklings came from they were put on the pre-show a lot. So it's always Colby Carino, like his name's legacy in itself, but he was younger. Rob just started, and then Lance, I believe, was he was a part of a tag team. Then he wasn't. So they were like, we want these guys in the show, but we don't have a spot for them. So they put them in the beginning, pre-show. So they called themselves the Ugly Ducklings. Like nobody wants us. We're going to get over ourselves. And then when I came along, they thought of, would it be cool for you to be the Coach Bombay from like the Mighty Ducks to the Ugly Ducklings? Yeah. And at first, I was like, okay, Coach, put on the Letterman jacket, all that stuff. I was like, well, that's not really me, So I kind of like morphed it into my own. Like we had like a clip, with the clipboard, and kind of just morphed it in there. And people started kind of catching on where it was like this delusional side of the Ugly Ducklings, because I think that was so cool about our character. We were like, our characters were delusional, like me being the biggest guy, but I don't wrestle.
Yeah.
I'm their coach. And for me to be the one that's a little bit unhinged, I'm the one that's coaching them. Like there's layers to it. So, we just kind of built from that name and then kind of built it. Like we almost talk about it like I was more of a life coach than an actual coach for wrestling, right?
One thing that sticks out about you, even from Coach Mikey to now, is the confidence. Did you always have the confidence?
Ooh, that it's crazy because like I look back, you can always go back to like grade school. Like I wasn't a shy kid by any means, but I don't know if I had the confidence. I was always a big kid. I grew up like I had it grow into my head, so my head's always been this large dome. But I mean, like, most kids, I got bullied a lot. And when I kind of got out of high school and stuff and started getting those confidence a little bit more and more, when I had the ability to create a character, I think it's not so much the confidence, it's the fact that I don't really have any shame. So
Yeah.
like but that transformed into confidence, like and I always was a very proud of being able to stick up for like a bigger guy. Like, oh, this guy's got his shirt off. Look at him just jumping around having fun. He doesn't care. Like, because I don't,
Yeah.
like it turned into that confidence. But, I think it always stemmed from just being a kid and not being able to do that as a kid. Being able to do that now as an adult is pretty cool. And I'll take that.
Yeah. When you mentioned tag teams, especially the Ugly Ducklings, the Ugly Ducklings have so many good matches. For you, was there a match to be a part of in some capacity that just sticks out?
I mean, it has to be. I think if you ask anyone the question, it's the Gym Nasty Boys,
Nice.
White Mike and Timmy Lou. We all good friends, and we just came from the same area, and we took a match that we had. We probably wrestled them 100, times. I mean, but we took that match and we put it everywhere. So we showcased it everywhere. One that sticks out the most is Fest Wrestling in Gainesville, Florida. We had a pretty awesome feud with them, and just given the freedom to be able to, and that's usually a lot of times a lot of promotions gave us that freedom because they knew how much we worked well together. So like, you know what, just go out there and do you guys,
Yeah.
obviously guys up north, Private Party, we
Yeah.
in Rhode Island, like they were always so much fun because they had that similar energy. They were like we were so like they had that energy, and they always, were looking to do new things. And I remember that was right around the time before they went off to AEW, and I was like, oh, this is a no-brainer. They 100% need to go out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's different tag teams out there. The Federated, anytime we worked with Mick Drake, Mike Orlando, all those guys, they were always a lot of fun too. Usually those, besides the gymnasties, those big strong dudes versus Robin Lance were always so much fun.
When you talk fun, I know that you talk about tag teams that bring the best out of the Ducklings. Was there a match that you guys had that you guys just said it was just completely fun?
Oh man. Um, I hate to keep going back to the Gym
Yeah.
Nasty Boys, but literally anytime we worked with them, and it wasn't even like the fun part was, obviously we were doing what we needed to do to entertain, but um, those two guys, if you want to have someone like make you laugh in the ring, that's their whole job, and those were always a lot of fun. A lot probably for me. Personally, I had a match against White Mike in my hometown. Um, and that was probably the most fun I've ever had in a wrestling match because it's like you're wrestling your friend, you have trust in them. I'm not a pro wrestler by any means. So for me to put trust in someone else to like, hey, we're going to make this work. And we had my sister got involved. She jumped the guardrail. Mike clocked her. Like it was just this whole like layers and layers, and they just got the back, and you're like, that was a lot of fun.
Wow. When you look at your career, was it through the Bananas that you had to start taking time away from pro wrestling, or was that before the Bananas came along?
So it was actually before. So right around when the pandemic hit, like everything slowed down. And I just kind of had a lot of time to reflect, and I was at home and just kind of thought, I was like, hey, maybe I need to dial this back a little bit. So I got a great job at home, and I was just doing that, and I was content. And I would work local promotions around there, and the Ugly Ducklings, they would do tags here and there. Rob would wrestle every weekend, and we're just kind of like, what, I was completely content with what I've done. I was fulfilled, if I would say, like that was the best feeling in the world. Like I didn't step away from anything thinking like, oh man, I wish I would have. And that was that. And then I remember being at home, and my friends were on this wrestling show in Augusta. I was like, let me go check it out. And it's funny that the thing that I stepped away from was the thing that got me to what I'm doing today, because the casting director for the Savannah Bananas is also a ring announcer. So he approached me. He goes, "Hey, Coach Mikey, I remember you from Florida when you wrestled with the Gym Nasty Boyz." So I was like, "Oh man, I wonder what he saw." But uh, he said, "Hey, let's talk later." And I'm thinking, "All right, what wrestling show do I have to turn down now?"
Yeah.
But when he approached me, kind of said, "I've seen your work. I work with the Bananas. I would love to see Coach Mikey, that character, with the Savannah Bananas." I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
And I made an audition video. And, 2.5 years later, I'm on the road every weekend. It's been wild.
What was like for you the start, like, training and the audition and in general for the Bananas at first? Because he came to you, but you said you made an audition tape. So how was it for you?
Yeah, so he kind of came up to me, kind of gave me the rundown
Yeah.
of what I'd be doing as a cast member. It was very similar to what I do in pro wrestling.
Wow.
It's almost identical. Like what I do with the Bananas is what I do as a wrestling manager. And I
Mhm.
think that's what kind of had him like scratching his chin a little bit, like, But he went from that. I made an audition video, and it was nothing like, I'm not a cheerleader. I don't know any
Yeah.
cheers. So like I steered into that. I just did like a Coach Mikey bit. I did terrible cheers, and I remember I did like spelling out Savannah like a cheerleader, but then in the middle of it I pretended to forget how to spell Savannah.
Yeah.
Like it was like little bits there, and I gave it to him like 12 hours later. Like I was so like, I need to do this now before, like anybody, like before I go, I'll think about it. And then all of a sudden, it's off your radar. So I did it, and he was like, "Oh my God, everyone loves it. We want to bring you out here." And I'm
Wow.
like, "Okay." So I went out for uh, their orientation, met everybody, and we did like rehearsal games. And just like anything else I think I've done in my life, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then you just do it, and you kind of wait around. And you're like, "Okay, well," and they're like, "That's exactly what we need." And we're like, "Perfect."
Nice.
So like, it's funny to look at it like 2 years ago and look at it now. I everything's so what's the word, like tightly knit now. Like I know exactly where I need to be, exactly what I need to do. That when I meet new people in the cast, I'm like, I know what you're thinking. You have no idea what's going
Yeah.
on, but it's gonna come to you.
When it comes to the Savannah Bananas, I'm curious, who are your biggest mentors or people that have gave you the most advice and helped you?
Oh wow. Definitely the guy that hired me, Matt Grafer, the young professor.
Yep.
He is a madman. Like him and of course Jesse Cole, the guy in the yellow tux. They are so bought in on this. You can't help but like follow their lead.
Yeah.
But Grafer, he's so important to what we do because he's the one. He's over all the cast, and now we have 6 teams.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's a group picture I think he posted on his Facebook, and he's like, "Oh, these are all my sons and daughters," and there's like 100 people behind them. That's all. He's hired all of them, and just learning from him because he was the first one to kind of say, this could be the new thing for you. Because I at the time I was like, "Oh, I'll do shows here and there."
Mm.
He's like, "Bro, like this could be it." And I didn't understand the magnitude of it. I really didn't. And so he kind of sold me on that. I remember we were at a hotel, like after a rehearsal game. He's like, "Dude, if you want to go in on this, like go all in." Like I never looked back from there. So like learning from him, learning from Jesse, a lot of the cast directors, and honestly, the people I've worked with, as far as the other Bananas, we have I think over 17 pro wrestlers now on our
Awesome.
cast.
Yeah.
So you learn little things from everybody, and it's all character work. There's no physicality involved. So you kind of learn how people develop their own characters and maybe take a little bit here, take a little bit there.
When you talk about the Bananas, I'm curious, how is like the idea pitched to you? Because when we talk about the Savannah Bananas, these are ideas that are like never heard of before, and then you bring them to life.
Right. So the Bananas have been around for quite a while,
Yeah.
and essentially they kind of evolved to what you see now. So a lot of times, the whole stick was they're dad bods, either they're dads that are cheerleaders, and so they brought on a few guys here, a few guys there, and it slowly kind of transformed And then, we were just like these hype crews, just cool dads hanging out in the crowd. And all of a sudden we're doing these like major league stadiums and they're like, hey, by the way, in the middle of the third inning, you have a dance number. And we're like, a what? Like, but it's awesome to see how much it evolved to that, and now it's like by the end of the season, they were like, hey, you got a dance number. Oh, okay, we'll learn it. Like you gain that confidence and that expectation and you move that bar to it was fun. Yeah, we were just dudes hanging out in the crowd. Now we're doing dance numbers. We were on the Tonight Show, like all these things that now, it's the expectations of what we do now, and which is really cool to kind of see it evolve and get bigger and bigger.
This could be me being a mark for you. I remember when you first started with the Bananas, you were with the Bananas, but didn't you go to the Party Animals for a little bit too?
Yes. So yeah. So I was approached. They were doing their headlining tour, and they were kind of looking for a host. And they're like, well, this guy, he's got a look. He can talk good on the microphone, and they gave me the opportunity. So I was able to do their first few headlining shows, which to me, I don't know if you ever seen the video, but I thought Hogan turning heel, and I did the whole clip because that's what it felt like. Like I was joining the cool like NWO.
Yeah.
And honestly, that to me, one of the guys that helps with a lot of the Party Animal stuff, Isaac, he's another guy that I learned so much from. He just helped me how to kind of pace myself, a little bit of timing. Then going into the next season, they had me back with the Bananas, and they said, "Hey, we want you to be the captain of the Bananas." And I told them, I always say this, and I say this with pro wrestling. I will fit in wherever you need me as long as the trajectory is going up, Like if I'm going over here and I'm not moving up or learning, then maybe I'll have an issue with it. But if I'm going up and up and up, I mean that's what it's about.
Was Rad Bod something you always wanted to be called, or how did the idea come? Were you trying for Coach Mikey originally?
No, so I knew I wanted to do something different than Coach Mikey because there are actual coaches in Bananas. I don't want people thinking I had anything to do with that. But Rad Bod was actually a moniker that I used with Coach Mikey very briefly.
Wow.
Very briefly. And sometimes you can see in pictures, it might be drawn onto my shorts, or there might be a little like here and there, but it wasn't anything I really thought, was a name. And then I kind of tossed around like Mikey the Rad Bod, or just we call him Rad Bod, and I started with the Bananas, and then all of a sudden, like guys that have known me for years in wrestling call me Rad Bod now. Wow. And I was like, okay, it kind of took off, and made its own thing. But I definitely knew I wanted to do something different other than the Coach Mikey character.
Nice. There's two instances I was so happy to see Coach Mikey. I wish I had him with me, but I remember texting you first during the summer. What was it like for you to have your own action figure? We talk about it. There was 5 Bananas, I believe. It came in the little box for you to have yours. What did that mean for you?
Oh man, I mean, I'm looking at them right now.
Yeah, I think mine are right there too. Yeah.
It was so cool. We were kind of looking around for ideas to create these action figures, and it's a company that actually does a lot of pro wrestling action figures, and we're like, well, why don't they do us?
Yeah.
So just creating those, and once in a while I'll be at a game and someone's like, hey, can you sign this? And of course they're the little guys. Yeah. I'm like, how the heck do you sign this thing? But just to see that take shape, and they take pictures of you, and they do the 3D model scale and stuff like that. So that was always really cool to see.
And then what about PWI? You guys got your own page in there too.
Listen, I didn't think I would, but I definitely cried when I saw that. It wasn't, being approached for it was really cool. The interview was amazing. The guys were amazing for it. But when I walked into the mall and like found it on the shelf and opened it up, I was like, wow. I've been doing pro wrestling for 12 years. I don't think my name was ever mentioned in PWI, but those guys have been amazing to kind of see that aspect of it. They did like that whole article on the similarities, and we talk about it every weekend, the similarities between Banana Ball pro wrestling. It's sports entertainment. I mean, that's the vein and that it's in. Um, so seeing that on there, I think I bought like 8 copies.
Right.
So
When you talk pro wrestling, for you, what is it like? Because as the seasons are going, more and more pro wrestlers are getting involved with Savannah Bananas. I've seen recently Fala Boz now getting involved. So for you, what is that like to see?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And the reason that I love it so much is because of the good guys in pro wrestling, the guys that get it, are the people like, there's 17 of us now. So we're looking around, they say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a guy that's going to be in a hula skirt. That's going to be a lot of fun. He's a big dude. I said, that was like what I immediately go, have you heard of Falaba? And they're like, yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, let me hit him up real quick. Because like I immediately knew how funny he is as a person, as a human being,
Yeah.
and being able to understand that level of entertainment. And there's guys, I don't think he even saw a single banana ball game, but he knew the moment he sat there and he watched it for a second, he goes, oh, okay. And we're out there calling spots as characters, and seeing guys like that, and I'm meeting a lot of guys too. There's some guys I would do shows with, and there's some guys I've never done a show with, and so meeting and we kind of like just miss each other in pro wrestling. So it's cool because you obviously you have a lot of guys to watch PLEs with after the show, because that is the one downfall. You miss every pay-per-view because we're always on the road. But you become prepared and you bring a Roku box, and then you'd be able to watch it after the show. So
yeah, as we're winding down, I'm curious real quick, what is like a day in the life of a show?
Oh man, it is. So we usually get there. You're looking at probably like 11 o'clock. The buses pick you up from the hotel and you get to the stadium. We find our locker room, we get settled in, and then from there we have this pre-show meeting. It's basically kind of run down the park. And Jesse comes up and talks to us. It's really inspiring. After that, we'll have a cast meeting. Professor will talk to us. They say, a rundown of the script. We have the script is minute by minute, run down everything, breaking down. From there, we're kind of off free. We'll go grab some lunch. Usually a lot of times I take that time to film content because like if you're in a stadium like Yankee Stadium, you're like, I'm going to film some stuff here, then the show starts. It starts, the gates open very early to let you into the plaza area where you can buy merch. They have like drink stands and all that stuff. And then they have what we call is before the peel, which is like a pre-show. Like if you ever watch like SummerSlam or WrestleMania, they have the big stage out in the parking lot, and it's exactly kind of how before the peel. So it's a showcase show of all the people, like players, cast members, all that stuff. Then you come inside, and then from inside, we're inside. They do like a whole pre-show inside with the cast. We do our dance numbers, and then the game starts. The game is only 2 hours long. 2 hours long, and that's it. And then once the game starts, ends, and then we're back into the plaza signing autographs till about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Grab some dinner, go home, go to sleep, wake up, do it again. Nice. So it's fun. It's a blast.
You're having so much fun with the bananas, but I'm curious, is there ever a chance that Coach Mikey gets back in the ring? I know you're managing, I think it's Cody Fluffman coming up.
Yes. So I am currently in Savannah, Georgia. So there's a promotion in Savannah, and Fluff is another banana, and he mentioned that that I should be out there managing him. So I was like, okay. And then the story of do I do it as Rad Bod or Coach Mikey? But I to pay respect to Rob, Lance, and Colby, I think Coach Mikey is Ugly Ducklings. Will always be Ugly Ducklings. Anything outside of that, I'm Rad Bod. So if there's ever a reunion show, I know those two, Rob and Lance, they're doing WrestleCade signings, so I'd love to see that. I love my boys, still really close with them. But yeah, Coach Mikey, Ugly Ducklings, everything else, Rad Bod. But maybe here and there I'll do some shows.
Yeah. Well, Coach Mikey, I can't thank you enough. I told you since I was 12 years old, the impact you've always had. I have your action figure in the magazines. I can't thank you enough for doing this. However, every interview I've done has ended the same. The day you decide it's all done in wrestling or the Savannah Bananas, which isn't happening anytime soon, but the day you decide it's all done, what do you want your legacy to be?
Man, whew. I would like my legacy to be that after I am long gone, that people can still watch videos of me, find pictures of me, and have a good laugh.
Nice.
And they don't even have to know who I am.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy's goofy, this guy's funny. If I brighten your day a little bit, man, that's what, it's all worth it.
Nice. Well, Mikey, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for everything over these years. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this.
Yes, absolutely, brother. Thank you for having me on. I would love to come back anytime.
Let's do it again. Thank you for doing this, and thank you, everybody, for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.